Hi friends, this video is for talking to you about a different argument and of course for introducing to you one of my portraits. We all have something in common, the that feeling, the belonging to our roots, and this is important for this speech because, for example, I have received the love for arts and for ancient civilization from my relatives, from my elders, from my dad, and from my uncle that lost his life this year. And it's just about the being connected with our dear ones loved. In ancient time, I have discovered watching so many documentaries, reading, and even having news from your posts spread around the world from your witness that we have had this sort of connection with the other life, the afterlife, with the other dimension since the dawn of time. We all, wherever you live in, whatever is your belonging to this and that culture, this and that cult or religion. In my case, let's say us in middle of Italy, in the central part of Italy, we have as ancestors Etruscan people and Romans, of course. Me, my nose. And probably many of you know a lot about our history, reported by books and by documentaries. And this argument was a very important topic in our traditions that has been deleted when Christianity came. Close parenthesis. We used to celebrate just now in November the honoring the memories of our dear ones gone. We used to actually build really towns dedicated to them, reproducing with little shape of houses and murals all over the inner surface of those walls. What it was the current way of life of those ancestors at that time, more than 2000 years ago. Etruscan left to us many tracks of they were to be just through their depicting how their life was from those beautiful murals. We got many information about them observing those mural sites, huge, called necropoli. Even ancient Romans developed that cult, that tradition of honoring the dead, the ancestors, building necropoli and even mausoleum, huge, for people more rich, let's say, more in high charge. Anyway, for all people was there was the use to have gathering near the graves of a grandmother, of a grandfather, of a very dear ones passed in the other life. And during those meetings, in some day during the year, and even in this period, they used to offer things like wine, some food, some dry fruits, some coffee, because at that time we didn't have the coffee, some things that they knew their loved one passed loved in this life. And we used to eat and having conversation with friends and relatives near the graves, just to be connected, just thinking that way the loved ones, even though in that other dimension, could hear us, could listen us, our words and prayers dedicated to them. I have discovered, for example, in Facebook, through the many posts of my dear friends, that other civilizations, even very far, even on the other side of the ocean, has that same way to honoring their dear one disappeared. And they have been good in maintaining these traditions despite all centuries, all air revolts, all invaders. They have been good in keeping alive this tradition. With the Christianity, we have lost this because that was a use of a pagani as we were. We only maintained the use to bring flour, only that. Anyway, this year I have had 2 losses in my circle of Facebook friends. One was a very dear lady in my close friends group. One was a person that I have known through the many posts of some of my friends in Facebook, contact friends. I have known news about him, about his life. I have heard his voice, so calm, that bring peace every time you listen to. So full of good advice, so wise. He was, I have to say he was now, because he passed this year. And just in this moment of the year dedicated to the loved ones we cared of course I didn't have the luck of knowing him in person, but I have appreciated him and his way to be, his way to teach. And I'm sure that so many of us would have had him as grandfather. Mr. Grant. I want to share with you his smile, the way I depicted him, his way to having that sweet smile. Enjoy.